Basta't nandyan ka, may pag-asa, dahan-dahan sa...
Kailangan nating talunin tong pandemic na to.
Kailangan lumaban kailangan may gawin.
I'm not going to be part of that 40% that will not survive, and that's it.
Muling susulo, pwede bang mangarap?
There's still a drop of life, then I'm gonna hold on to that and I'm gonna keep it alive.
Even just buying one mask na 35 pesos, it's like we dance for joy.
Kung nag-umpisa ka na, sana may bumili ng tinda ko, parang back to basic ako.
Doon mo ma-feel na, okay, may pag-asa pala.
Mula noon, lalo ngayon.
For the sake of the Filipinos, we just have to give it a fight, di ba?
Pwede bang mangarap?
Alright, magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. Hope everybody's doing fine. And we are again sa ating Wednesday lunch date with Health and Wellness. Welcome to Health Revolution. Good afternoon, Ma'am Betty.
Good afternoon, Raymond. Happy Wednesday again, and happy lunch dates to all our revolutionarios here listening.
Yes,
and
this time around we will be learning something new, ano po? Para to go along with our masarap na lunch. This is something really good. Food for here.
every week naman, diba, we try to give something new to our audience. And today we're very honored and I think very privileged to be able to catch our special guest today, who is somebody described him as the Philip Cutler of the Philippines. So he'll be here to give us, to mentor us on business model business model changes during this pandemic, and most especially for our MSMEs, diba? Kasi sila yun, they are the ones who are hardest hit, and so hopefully after they've watched this show, we have given them some food for thought, diba? So that we can continue with our businesses, or we know what to do with our business aspects naman of our life, para hindi naman madagdagan yung mga stress ng buhay.
Correct. And this is a time for pivoting, rebranding, reinventing yourself, because this disruption has really affected the whole world, no? So if you cannot pivot, you cannot make a solid reflection or rebranding or whatever to adjust to this pandemic, talaga medyo magiging Jurassic tayo. So we're so blessed. We're so blessed to have here a very important learning, especially now that we have a lot of self-reflection time for our business, for ourselves, for our future. And the best time to think about our future, 2021 and beyond, is now. Not on December, not next year. The time is now. Yeah. So talagang
Yes,
excited
oo.
tayo for today. One solid hour of awesome learning. So
Yeah.
can we introduce na po?
Oo. So let us
Sige,
welcome our
yes, we will
very
play.
special guest, Mr. Josiah Go.
Okay, watch this video para mas motivate tayo, and we'll learn more about him. But of course, he will be with us right here online. So don't go away, guys.
Yan. Hi!
Pero, hello, sir.
Oh
Hello,
my,
how are you?
masaya si TJ.
With that,
Hi, good morning,
yes,
Mr. Josiah.
How are you, Betty? How are you, Raymond?
Good,
So
sir,
now
good.
we're now going to compress 30 years of wisdom
And
of Mr.
experience.
Josiah Go. Oo nga eh. Pero yun nga, no?
I will do my best.
Ay, kayang-kaya mo naman yan. And you know, I always like to go to the seminars of Mr. Josiah kasi, you know, even if I just learn one thing and I'll be able to apply it, that's already, it pays more than enough for the seminar, diba? Pero yun na nga, during this pandemic, sir, what factors do you think will determine whether the person should continue with the business or just close shop? Kasi, di ba, with the many difficulties that we have to encounter in the future, sometimes, di ba, it might be also good to, let's say, temporarily lang naman, if it can be, to stop and, or mas okay, sige lang, sugod lang ng sugod.
Well, you know, there are some that are very obvious you cannot operate because the government will not allow you to operate. Like, for example, live events are not yet allowed by the government. So even if you want, you cannot. And the second thing is that sometimes exit is not possible. Exit is a strategy, but sometimes exit is not possible because, you know, the buyer of your business, and essentially instead of closing, you should sell. Because if you close it, there is no value. If you sell the business, there is value. But who's going to buy the business if they cannot operate the business? Or they cannot convert your space or your infrastructure into something else. One of the things that I'd like you to do is to think about the assumption, whether they're still valid. All of the business people, when they enter a business, normally they have assumptions. You know, and then ask themselves, is the assumption correct? Or maybe the assumption is now obsolete. It was correct in the beginning, but now it's obsolete because, you know, government is not allowing you or customers are afraid. No? The other thing is, of course, obviously, if you run out of money, you cannot operate anymore because you cannot pay for your people. But as I said, my preference is always not to close the business but to sell because of the residual value. So if you run out of money, well, is it possible you can get a new partner? That's another option. Or let's say you have lost your passion, and I hope you don't lose your passion. Just listen to the show of Betty and Raymond. I'm sure you will be motivated. Or listen to our Mansmith Marketing Inspiration Festival. You know, and they're in Continuing Academy. You know, to inspire you. So I hope I've given you some tips in terms of when to close shop, and I hope you don't close shop, and when not to.
Well, as you've said nga, di ba, we should never close shop. Kasi through the years, when you have a business, through the years, you have established some clients, you have established your supply chain, so that, you know, we try as much as possible to sell the business, di ba? So, like for example, if right now you cannot operate, but you can find out already, maybe this is a time to assess, diba? Assess what the future of the business will be. Because like for example, kunyari, pag medyo matanda na, diba? Oh, the COVID suddenly came and then you say, oh, I'm a senior citizen. You know, I've built this business, but sometimes I have to just let go, right? Kaya lang, it's my baby. So what can you do? So the next best step would probably be to sell the business, right?
So I'm looking for a business to buy in case if you know.
Okay. O sige.
Wow.
People na business pala. Yeah.
I'm an angel investor, so yeah.
Yeah, people can go to an angel investor and then sometimes they get tips that the angel investors sometimes even aside from putting money, they can also give ideas also, diba? Just like what's happening right now, there are a lot of collaborations even in the big companies, right?
Tama.
Yeah, pero yun, for the small business, Josiah said you can go and sell your business to him. So, just in case, but then
Any
again,
kind of
you still
business,
have to
just to make it just to
not monkey
clarify.
business.
Of course, any legitimate business, no? No particular industry.
Well, you know, in my case, it has to be an industry that I understand. Consumers, in general, services. You know, as an angel investor, one of the things that I find amazing is that, you know, people do not have any basis. They want to sell business, and then, you know, the value of the business is out from thin air. And, you know, normally I said, where did you get that figure? They have no basis. And one of the interesting basis for a business is you look at the recovery of the buyer. Because if the buyer will buy the business, certainly he has to recover the investment.
Correct.
So that is one way of looking at it. But, you know, sometimes it's a turn off that they just look at themselves, but they don't care about you, the buyer. It's not a partnering, it's not a long term.
Okay.
They just want to abandon. So, you know, if you're interested to sell, then think about what's in it for the buyer as well. Para win-win.
Correct. Or else you
Pero
will
yun
not get a good buyer, di ba?
Hindi, kasi that's why the person is buying because syempre they should also profit in the future,
course.
diba? They should see something there
It's an
in the
investment,
business.
Yeah,
Yes, so
they're not
hindi
wasting
naman siya
money.
charity, diba? It's
Yeah,
an
correct.
investment. Yeah. But then the problem I think with people is sometimes they go into business without a business model, diba? But
Tama.
there's no plan. If you fail to plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I think at the start of a business, the most important thing is still to be able to come up with a business model. And actually, that is part of the one good thing with DTI, the KMME program. The business model is a part of what they teach the entrepreneurs to be. So at least medyo the percentage for success becomes a bit bigger because there's a model. And then the model naman, the model doesn't stay static na like when you start your business, it's like that, diba? So you have to adapt it and change it as you go along, right? Pero so, kailan pandemic times Sir Josiah. So what do you think? What should we do with our business models? What points or what guidelines should we put importance on as we try to reconfigure our business models. Just in case we don't have one, we start by doing one, when then input how to do it. But let's say we want to change it, we try to reconfigure it. And so what are your suggestions?
Well, number one is I have good news for you, no? Because I have a business model channel in YouTube. Bago lang, it's quite new. And there are 11 building blocks. The business model canvas that you mentioned have 9 building blocks. It's good. It's a good model, but I just find that you need to have value chain and reconfiguration in business model, especially after the pandemic. We know how important is value chain. So if anybody interested, just find business model channel.
Sir, I'm searching it now, sir.
So there is a 45-minute free seminar there on the 11 building blocks. And now, to your point, how do you guide your business model? And I've always mentioned about the additional value chain and reconfiguration. And one of the things about reconfiguration is that just because you have a business model canvas does not mean you're going to be successful. Because you can have a business model that is not different from other business models. In other words, one important thing is to ask yourself, what is it that you're starting and what is it that you are stopping compared to all the others? This is a fundamental question that we have to ask ourselves in a business. A business cannot just be about value proposition. Innovation has to be incorporated. I'll give you an example. Waters Philippines, my company, is celebrating our 30th anniversary this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we are the first network direct selling company in home water purifiers. In other words, I'm talking about start doing. What can you claim as the first, and what barrier to entry can you create? So in our case, we did the first network direct selling business model for home water purifier, and the first one that have a low down payment, 36-month installment. And that's the reason why we have existed for 30 years. Over the years, I've seen 50 competitors failed in that business. So you need to think about start doing, stop doing. In my case, I stopped selling to retail store a long time ago. And if I continued to sell to appliance store, I would not be able to operate. And we have our own independent people selling our water purifier. So that's a very important thing. Everybody will have to ask, what is the start doing and stop doing? And that's questions that you will have to ask yourself. If you close your project, if you close your business, or let's say you close this show, you have to ask one fundamental question. What will people miss that they cannot get it elsewhere? Because if they can get it elsewhere, even if you have a value proposition, then that's something that you have to think again. How can you strengthen your business model through reconfiguring? And so how exactly do you reconfigure? Then you have to go back to your target market. What is the customer telling you? And before we set up our network direct selling model 30 years ago, we have market research, and we discovered every year the number of people who do not drink directly from the tap, has been increasing, and once it reached, over 90% not drinking tap water directly from the tap, we know that they have very low confidence level. That's the reason why they're spending money buying water. And what we have also discovered is that many people who bought products from relatives did not even canvas, because I used to think that consumer durables, yan, kakanvas yan, they start compare, but they did not compare. If they buy it from somebody that they have trusted. So these are issues that you have to go back to understanding your customers and then designing your business model.
So is it a question of like whether we have to be better or we have to be different?
Good question. You see, and that's the problem, because many times, let's say market leader. Of course, market leaders are always better. If we just compare the marketing mix, they're always better. The only thing that's not better for market leader is probably pricing. They're probably a little higher price. But there are some categories where the market leader are actually lower prices. No? But because they are better, they don't want to be different. You get it? Now, many companies I discovered, they claim they're different. We are different. We're not the same. But if you look at how they compete in the marketplace, if you look at the type of product, distribution, promotion, pricing level, they are different in the same way. They are not different in a different way. And there are two different things that you have to distinguish. Because when you say, I want to be differentiated, there are actually 4 levels of differentiation. And the highest level of differentiation is called your business model differentiation, not your marketing mix differentiation. Most people confuse differentiation as market mix differentiation. That's being different in the same way. And competitors can easily match, what the company has been doing. No? And unfortunately, that's how we were taught in school. But that's wrong, grossly inadequate. We need to have a better understanding of what differentiation is all about.
So that is another hour of lecture from Sir Josiah.
I'm gonna do my best.
Hindi. Kasi nga di ba, sometimes but that is true kasi di ba, we were taught na, as long as I'm different from you and I will stand out, then I'm okay, di ba? But then there are 4, ano ba yun? Sir Josiah, what did you say? 4
levels of differentiation. 4 levels.
4 levels. So what are the
first
4?
level is the marketing mix level differentiation. You're different, let's say, in one of the 4 P's of marketing. Maybe your advertising is different. Your advertising is more emotional. Yeah, but you're different in the same way because you compete in the same way. You get it? The number 4 is business model. You don't compete the same way. Most of my competitors, for example, are in the retail store. I'm not in the retail store. Most of my competitors sell cars. I sell on installment. I'm not the same. I'm different in a different way. You get it? I have a training company called Mansfit and Builders. And we train people about marketing strategy. Most training companies are very functional. They teach marketing, but they practice functional. They have, and the job to be done really is functional, emotional, social, and economic. If you look at all these benefits, Mansfit is advocacy based. We sponsor the Young Market Masters program. We sponsor the Mansfit Innovation Award. We sponsor so many advocacy. So in a way, we're not just offering functional benefits. We practice what we preach.
Yeah.
In other words, we are different. We compete differently versus all the other competitors. And this is the and let me just complete that. So you have marketing. The second one is your market segment differentiation. You have more than one market segment. And that allows you to differentiate yourself depending on where is the advantage that you can see. And the third one is what you call market driving strategy. You are focusing on the unserved market. And the fourth one is business model. So, a lot of times when we talk about marketing, people are just doing market driven. They're just looking at the served market. They don't even bother to look at the unserved market, which is really, in essence, the third level market driving. If you focus on the unserved market and you are the early entrant, you practically have no competitor.
Okay. And then what else? What are the other, the other 2? Marketing,
Marketing mix is first. Market segment is second. Market driving is third. Business model is the fourth.
Business model is the fourth. Okay. So, but yun na nga, business kasi is always dynamic, di ba? We try to assess it based on certain conditions. But then the best is always to get a mentor, di ba? Para mas madali. Sometimes it's difficult to be, everybody has an idea. And the business always starts with an idea, right? So, syempre, we would want that idea to grow. Pero syempre, baby mo yun eh. So, you love it so much, you have the passion for it. Sometimes, you just tend not to assess it as other people would look at it. So, medyo bias tayo doon. So, it would take somebody else to assess or to help you out, diba? It's always good to ask for help rather than to to just plug along with the business. Tapos, and then when you failed, ang sama-sama ng loob mo, di ba? When there's always a chance for success. Most especially for our young people, they are always very dynamic with their ideas. And the schools have been teaching them to become entrepreneurs, although not everybody can be an entrepreneur, but you can always make a try for it, right? So yun, they just try to find out how different they can be in terms of not only the idea of being different, but also on the functional side of being different, right? Correct? Okay. Pero during this pandemic, so every young one is shifting to online selling. So, well, for big business, or for the small and medium business, sometimes, online, it's still a small segment of the sales, what do you call this, the sales market. But do you think online is the way to go? And how aggressive should one be in terms of online? Or can we talk about this after a break? Or my questions,
Yes, we'll be taking
okay.
a break. Yeah. No, actually, that's what I was about to say. Please hold on to that thought, and we'll be taking a break. When we come back, Sir Josiah will answer this very important question. So far, ang dami nating learnings. Grabe. Very, parang concise na concise. 1 solid hour talaga of awesome learning. So don't go away, guys. We have more. So we'll be just taking a quick break. Don't go away.
Business Innovations Gateway Incorporated. Our vision, to provide happy options for healthy living the holistic way. Our mission, to manufacture and distribute innovative and convenient high-quality products which provide the best value for your money. Our products: Gusto Powdered Vegetable Drink Mix, Big 50 Plant-Based Omega-369 Vegetarian Capsules, 2 Biota Liver Care Probiotics with Prebiotic Vegetarian Capsules, 15 Biota Probiotics with Prebiotics. Presenting Gusto Powdered Vegetable Drink Mix. By using spray drying technology, the vegetables are naturally spray dried. Gusto Powdered Vegetable Drink Mix is your daily detox with all natural antioxidants. Gusto Powdered Vegetable Drink Mix combines the natural goodness of 10 vegetables, ginger, turmeric and mango, healthily sweetened with stevia leaves which are easily absorbed by your body. You can now enjoy the health benefits of daily fruit and vegetable intake without the added work of chewing. Moving on to Big 50 Plant-Based Omega-369 Vegetarian Capsules to flush out the bad oil. Big 50 has 5 ingredients that can prevent cardiovascular disease. The capsule of Big 50. Improved capsule stability and effectivity. Japan Sealing Capsule Introduction. It is in vegetable capsule and uses an advanced Japanese sealing technology, so the oil do not leak. This way the capsule can be easily digested. Reduces water vapor infiltration, that leads to the reduction of moisture deterioration of the raw material. Moving on to 15 Biota. Unique features of 15 Biota Probiotics with Prebiotics. Contains 15 strains probiotics kept alive by prebiotics. Each capsule have 5 billion alive bacteria with innovative coating technology. Move on to 2 Biota Liver Care Probiotics with Prebiotic Vegetarian Capsules. It filters our blood. Help yourself. Take 2 Biota Liver Care. It is the smart vitamin.
Hi, Josiah. We're back.
Okay, good.
Okay, sir.
You caught me looking at my mobile.
Everybody's
We cannot live without our cell phones
we're all
now.
busy with that. Guilty.
I'm multitasking, so answering messages.
Everybody's guilty.
So we were talking about online, diba? So the trend now is online. So how should our business shift to online, or how do we?
How do you know when you need to be online
In,
already?
in a business model,
Yes, sir.
online is a channel. Channel is the third decision you make. It's not the first decision you make, it's the third. What's the first two decision that you have to make? First decision you have to make is your target market. The second decision you have to make is your value proposition. And channel is the third. Why? Because how do you make your value proposition reach your target market? And without your target market, without your value proposition, you cannot actually identify your channel. You cannot put the cart before the horse. And a key question that you want to ask yourself is, how do you make your product conveniently available to your target market? So is it online? Well, online is a possibility. But the other thing is that I have been seeing many Viber groups very active. Supposing it's not online, there are so many Viber distributors. You can just look at Viber groups, and you can just buy from these people. That's also another possibility. We are online, but basically just to place order. But we are direct selling, and so do we do face to face? Do we do face to face now? No, the Waters Philippines distributors do Zoom or through StreamYard. That's how they do it, and then they just submit the orders, and then we just take care of the orders. So online is one thing, but not all businesses, can be online because your customer may not be online. Now, the context, of course, of online is what's online. Certainly, you can have a website, but an alternative of website is a Facebook page. Facebook is online, correct? It's digital. So the context of online has to be clear, no? And you now have to say, okay, so what is the purpose of that online? Is it a distribution channel or is it a communication channel? Because these are two different things.
Okay. So so for the people, maybe for the micros, advantageous the online, right? Because like for example, I have a home business. So I bake my goodies and then I try to join all the marketplace, the Viber marketplace that we have, and then we just sell it, and then I find a rider. But then of course, when you grow your business later on, you have to think about the different aspects of the business, right?
Yeah, correct, correct.
So we cannot be an online forever. So it's fine. It's fine that you're earning money during the pandemic, but then it doesn't make a good business proposal to continue doing what you are doing.
Yeah.
So you still have to continuously assess. And also, I think what people discovered during the COVID is the supply chain. Remember, you were talking about the supply chain design of a business, that it is also very important. That's why you added it into your business model.
The value chain. Value chain.
Value chain. Sorry, the value chain
is the expanded supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at your entire value chain, so you can have the factory, you can have the R&D and so forth and so on. Without the value chain, your value proposition cannot be fulfilled. And the reason why you need value chain, I'm going to give you an example. So one of the most interesting or app now is called TikTok. So, among the Gen Z, it's very popular. But here's the thing about value chain. Kailan naging popular si TikTok? When? And the answer is when they actually bought a company called Musically. Musically was well entrenched in the U.S. They had millions of customers in the U.S. buying the app, and after they bought it, TikTok rode on Musically as part of that value chain. Now that's a very important thing. No? When you look at the business model, that's not a key process. That is a value chain. That has to be taken into consideration. I'll give you a second example, a Philippine example, Steel Asia. The way Steel Asia operates is that they actually created smaller mills in the provincial areas. Remember, their products are steel, which is very bulky, very heavy, and freight costs a lot. But if they created, the mini mills in the provincial areas, let's say in Cebu, there are construction, immediately they have cost advantage versus those coming from Manila. Therefore, the way they design their value chain is that they included not just a factory in Manila, but factories everywhere in the Philippines. That's a value chain. That's not a process. You get it? There's a difference between key processes that Betty was talking to, that you have a business model, there are 9 building blocks. The company needs to understand that value chain. And to your point, if you don't do it, then there is a supply risk, which means you're unable to supply because your competitor is able to supply better.
So sorry if
value
I may
now.
clarify lang yung value chain is also talking about availability, of making it available out there in the market to make it more accessible and add value to your product, like what TikTok did, because they were a boring app. Then they got this company with the copyright with rights to using music. That's why you don't get copyright infringement problems when you use TikTok, because they have an agreement with these companies already. So that's value added to their product. That's why they became a big hit. And in the case of Steel Asia, they have one in Candelaria, Quezon, actually, bago lang po. So it's true that they went out to the different town, cities to make it more available. So when you say adding value, the value chain, meaning add value to your product and also make it more accessible.
Yeah, but basically these are the sequence of activities that you have to assemble to deliver a value proposition. So if you say, I want a value proposition that gives you the lowest possible price for quality product, but how do you exactly do that? If you don't have a factory within a certain city, you cannot just rely on centralized manufacturing and shipping. It's impossible to do that.
So in layman's term, in layman's term, can we say yung value is how you can add to the profit of your business?
Well, value is what's in it for the customer. You cannot create
to make it more competitive,
cost you.
Yes, cost efficient, competitive.
Value for the side of the customer.
And of the company as well. Because when you create value, you have to create value both sides. Because remember, marketing, the simplest concept of marketing is that it is a company interfacing with the market. A company must create value to the stockholder, but it must also create value for the customer.
Consumers.
So there has to be both sides. Look at Jollibee now; they're doing cloud kitchen.
Yes,
Before they are delivering using their branches, but during the lockdown, guess what happened? You cannot have dine-in. So they have a big branch. They cannot have TV party. They cannot do anything. But actually, they can actually do delivery using cloud kitchen. They don't actually need a branch, because when you deliver to your house, you don't really care where it came from, whether it's the cloud kitchen or the branch, because it's all the same. So long as the taste is the same, the quality is the same, it doesn't really matter. So now they're adding the cloud kitchen as part of their value chain. And cloud kitchen, again, is not a key process. You get it?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I feel that business model planning
Mhm.
lacks value chain and reconfiguration. It cannot be based on, okay, what's your key process? It cannot be. You have to plan your value chain.
Okay. So,
So what
excuse me,
are the companies?
meron lang comment dito, mga bati lang po, shout out.
Ah,
Jen Artist
hi.
Valdez, hello. Hello everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You can post if you have a question for Sir Josiah about the topic we're having here. Maybe you want to join the conversation, please feel free to post your comment down below the Facebook Live. Yeah.
I think the audience are they're
Absorbing lang
too
po talaga.
mesmerized, too mesmerized with
Same
the
same for
topic.
same with
Because,
us, man.
because what I have
Same
been
goes for
talking
us.
is contrary to what is being taught
That's
nowadays.
right, sir. That's
Yes,
Because
right.
I am actually challenging the conventional wisdom.
Mhm. Yeah. But then that is correct naman eh kasi 'di ba as we say everything is very dynamic that we have to be if everybody will be doing the same then a child in kindergarten can do business and can have a successful one, right? So that is where the difference lies is where you can be different, where you can make a change because our program is health revolution. By the way, the revolution there means change.
Change,
So
that's right.
we are saying, and then
Yes,
we
sir.
consider health as a holistic approach to everything. So a person is complete when he has to be healthy both physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, and
Financially,
everything.
yeah.
Yes, oo.
Everything
So,
is interrelated.
oo nga eh. So
and,
going back to our
yes,
business.
and
Oo.
if I may comment lang about Sir Josiah is also a revolutionary thinker.
Well, we need
Sakto talaga.
revolutionary thinkers, 'di ba?
Yes,
Kasi nga
opo.
yun nga, that's what we want to change in people na
Correct.
because we cannot be if all of us na is going to think the same, 'di ba mahirap din, 'di ba?
Yes,
But
po, yes,
then
exactly.
and also but then it also takes revolutionaries to try out the ideas that are, 'di ba?
Yes.
Mr. Josiah is going to teach us today. And
But these
so far
are he has already tried and tested most of this.
oo
What
naman.
Sir Josiah is
Yes, oo.
talking, he already
Yeah.
tested it. Parang
Oo. Tsaka
proven formulas. Yeah.
culminated na from so
Okay.
many years of experience. Kumbaga, he's not teaching us naman na you go into it blindly, diba?
Yes.
There's a basis naman for trying to do what he is suggesting. So far, so during this pandemic, if we're talking about the business model change, can we talk of also about what are the businesses that will be
Example.
changing also
Mhm.
in the what do you think will be the business that will thrive during this pandemic or let's say in 1 or 2 years after or what business will
Going
fail?
beyond, going beyond the new normal, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good question, Betty. No? But in general, I'm going to give you 3 tips how to go about it. Because many people may be from different industries and I might not be able to cover that. I was interviewed by Chinky Tan. In fact, I shared 40 plus businesses
Okay.
that they should be looking into. No? But the 3 things are: one, look at the pain points of the consumers. If there are product complaints, that's a business opportunity for you.
Yeah.
They're not happy, which means that there is an opportunity to enter the market. The second thing is look at lifestyle trends. And lifestyle trend is very easy. Just look at how we live, how we shop, how we play, how we work. Yeah. And it has been changing the last few months. And the third thing in terms of opportunity seeking is look at the white space in your industry. There are different white spaces. I'll give you an example of the first one, pain points. Halimbawa, ano yung mga kailangan sa tingin mo ng negosyante, business people. With so many months not operating, many are short of cash. They want to survive, but they're short of cash. So, hey, micro lending is probably a good one. I just had my hair cut this morning. Somebody came to my house because, and they cut my, and she cut my hair in open air. You know, I didn't want her to come inside my house, so you know, it was at the
lawn.
backyard. So look at the pain points. The second thing is lifestyle trend. What are lifestyle trends? For example, how do people work? Like how are you interviewing? We're using StreamYard. We're having video conferencing
Home-based.
online, for example. This is how people study. We have a company called Continuum Academy, where we have over 30 business courses. 3 days after lockdown, we already launched it. We were prepared ahead of everybody else.
Right.
And if you look at how people live, for example, crisis preparedness. You know, one of the core needs is called certainty. People want to be prepared. So going back to my water purifier example, water purifier is an example of crisis preparedness because what we have discovered is when people keep on buying from water refill station, they run the risk of having, you know, being affected by potential COVID because delivery because you don't want to get in touch with people. That's why you're staying at home. And then, you know, think about gardening, for example. Before COVID and during COVID, my house looks different now. My garden looks different now. I cannot recognize my garden because my wife started planting so many things. Even my balcony outside my room looks, you know, full of plants. No? And even my room now has a lot of plants.
Herbs and vegetables, not just ornamentals.
And then look at how people buy cashless payment, social messaging app. Look at how people play. I mean, you look at fitness. You know, we now have many fitness equipment in the house.
Correct.
And even about how people avoid dying. They want to be healthy. Your product, for example, Betty, you're in the, you know, vitamins. You provide, you know, good health. Even doctors are adapting. They're now doing Zoom consultation and the likes. No, so you know, look at how these are the three things that people can look into.
Yeah, actually, new realizations then about health. So, when we were conceptualizing the show, because my advocacy is for people to be proactive with their health. Because, people are always reactive. So when I get sick, I go to the doctor, I buy my medicine, I drink it, and I expect to get better in one day. That is the usual concept, right? But then we were trying to espouse, that's why we do supplementation, because we said you have to be proactive. You prevent getting sick. So, diba, there was a commercial nga, diba, bawal magkasakit. Because, if you get sick, then you don't go to work. And then your body suffers, you have pain everywhere else. And then what people do not realize is, if every time, like for example, every time you take a painkiller, so what does that mean? That means the root cause of the pain problem has not been solved. Diba? So every time you take painkiller.
You might just be adding to the problem.
You are adding to the problem. So now, when you take a medicine, your kidneys have to be able to flush that out, the medicine, right? So eventually, if you continue taking all those meds, then it might be a burden to your kidneys. Though I always say that, there's nothing wrong in going to a doctor when you're sick. That's fine, diba? We go to a doctor because we want to get well. But then, can you not try to prevent getting sick? We can do that, diba? Like we can be we have our food choices. So and I think also people now just realize that, like with the COVID, diba, at first they were saying, oh, okay, let's wait for the vaccine. And Take a look. Imagine, the vaccine might come out in, let's say, 2, 3 years. So what happens? You'll be staying home 2, 3 years. That's why a lot of people are having mental
Yes.
problems, diba?
Yeah, we
So,
have to wait it out. Yes.
yeah. So the best way, and also, is COVID the only sickness that you can get? But you can also get
Correct.
cancer, you can also get a lot of
Correct.
other diseases. So, paano na yan? You have 100 diseases, you have 100
Yes.
vaccines. Parang
Lockdown
not really
diseases.
very
We have,
logical, diba?
yeah,
So,
and
the best way is,
overweight. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, you boost your immune system. So, when you boost it, then you are free to fight any illnesses, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, but then, yeah, so as Mr. Josiah was saying, so it has to be, we try to find out what are the pain points, diba? So, if there is a pain point, there is a opportunity. So, people
Correct.
just have to think, what are the problems of people? Then, those are the businesses that they can go into, right? But
So
then
are
again,
there, yes,
you
sir.
must have a
Yes, ma'am.
business model for that.
Correct. Are there ways, do you have some tips on how they can actually do that? Because it's always been said that if you want to start a business, go find a need and you serve that need. Instead of creating a need, it's so hard to create a need. Before, there were business models like that, di ba, sir? Create a need and then you market to that. But it's more practical to just find a need, then supply or serve that need. So are
Can
there
you
tips
really
on how?
create? Can you really
Sorry.
create the need, Raymond?
Well, there are people who like visionaries like that who say, "Oh, let's create something like this and let's market it." Well, it's too visionary and too But I've heard people like that. We should create a need, or maybe create a brand, but there's no real need for that. Something like that. But it's always
Well,
more practical to find a need, no? But how can are there ways on how to? Kasi people sometimes find it hard, no? Parang many people have been sitting down for a long, especially ilang months na, ilang months na tayo sa lockdown, but still many people haven't really found out how to pivot or how to find a new need that they can serve. Are there tips for that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I just mentioned three ways, no, Raymond? Pain
Yes.
points,
Okay.
lifestyle trend, and white spaces. And these are the three specific ways to do it.
So they just have to go out and observe from friends and online, what's trending in online, things like that.
Well,
the observant.
observation is the cheapest way, but it's also dangerous unless you validate it. And the best way is to always talk to the customers. Or if you choose the non-customers, then you talk to the non-customers.
Talagang research talaga. Research is key.
Research, yeah.
Validated, yeah, because the observation might be wrong.
So, how do we go about naman with the research? Is it easier to go with the research now? Kasi nga, di ba, everything is online.
Well, there's a distinction between an entrepreneur's asking question and hiring an employee hiring a research company. And then the difference is that it's about the level of being risk averse. Because an entrepreneur has higher level of risk tolerance, and an employee would like to avoid risk as much as possible because it's not his fault. He could be fired or she could be fired. But an entrepreneur, as talking to just a few people, can make a decision immediately. And that's the reason why I always tell people, never substitute talking to people with reports because the report may not be accurate. You still need to validate. And all of us, whether we are owner, we are employees, we still need to validate. We still need to talk to the customer.
With your
No
experience,
shortcuts, yeah.
pala,
No shortcuts
with
to
your
that.
experience in business, what are the common mistakes of business people?
Well, during the COVID, one of the biggest problem is they did not operate. They just waited. But one option is they could have launched a new business. That's one. You call that dual transformation. You launch a new business that you can operate instead of waiting. So that when your old business can now operate, you now have two businesses. That's one mistake. The other mistake is they did not pivot. In other words, and my favorite example of, I can give you companies that pivoted. Look at Harlan and Holden. It's a clothing company. They have a restaurant. Suddenly, a few days after the ECQ, they now have a co-op grocer up. You look at Murder Mystery, Murder Manila. You have to go to their store to be able to solve a puzzle. Now you can do it by Zoom. Because of that, their market is even wider. Now you can play with your relative abroad. And they don't even have to come to a particular site. See, they have people. Electric Studio started leasing out their bikes. So these are important things that you have to take into consideration. The last thing is to do nothing and just to say we wait out. And many people are many people are in denial. They just keep on waiting, and then eventually they get angry and start blaming everybody else.
Okay. Also, can we take a break muna? Then, it's already 1:01.
Okay.
So
Very interesting talk,
kaya
no?
kaya nga. Too bad. Time is running out. So we'll take a quick break again, and when we come back, we'll be hearing as a wrap up and parting message from Sir Josiah. Yeah. So don't go away, guys.
Ikaw ba ay may problema dahil sa bad bacteria? Mayroong solusyon para sa'yo, huwag mag-alala. Subukan mo na para may good digestion ka. Happy life sa 15 Biota. 15 Biota, para laging mas happy ako dyan.
Mahalagang paalala, ang 15 Biota ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri na sakit.
Kung puso ang problema, break the bad habits. Move on na para sa healthy heart. It's a big 5-0. Tara na, let's all be fit. Mega healthy sa Omega 963. Para sa heart nutrient deficiency. Sa big 5-0, strong ang heart and body. Sa big 5-0. Nakamubon ka na't kumanda? Sa Big 5-0, puso mo ay alagang-alaga.
Mahalagang paalala, ang Big 5 o ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri na sakit.
Anak, anong gusto mong juice? Ang gusto ko, veggie juice kasi... Gusto juice, gusto ng lahat. Ang veggie juice na papasigla ng katawan. Nasa gusto na ang lahat. May gulay na, may prutas pa. Ito na ang sustansya. Vitamin ay kumpleto. Ikaw, ma, gusto mo? Uminom na ng isang baso ng sustansya. Kumpletong sigla para sa ating pamilya. Gusto veggie juice, your yummy veggie drink.
Mahalagang paalala, ang gusto ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri na sakit.
Alright, we are back.
Hi!
104.
Hi, Josiah, we're back. Oo nga, 104. We have to wrap up, sayang, no?
Yeah. Before we do so nga pala, can we promote muna some upcoming shows and also the YouTube channel of Sir Josiah that he announced earlier. So I just want to flash it. The Business Model channel so everybody can know. Yan. So please subscribe. And also Mansfifth. Ayan, no? Ayan.
Yeah, 8 things to evaluate in your business model.
Oh, yeah, no?
No, it's the first time I created a channel. So Tessa, our manager, created that for us. It's very interesting. But anyway, there is a 40-minute seminar that they can attend to. I did that during the early lockdown period, and I shut it. I just did it using an iPhone in our living room.
Kaya nga
Diba?
sabi ni
So, ito.
Josiah that
Yes.
the last thing you should do is to do nothing. So, di ba, during COVID, the
Yes,
creative juices,
And
your
also Man's Fit and Fielders, yeah? Is that
Yes,
also your
Mansmith
page,
is.
sir?
We also own Mansmith, which is our training and consulting company. It's actually an advocacy company,
Okay.
and our business model is whatever we earn. Then we
Hmm.
launch different advocacies.
Okay. So these are short, 60 seconders, oh. Thrive in 2021 and beyond, 1 minute and
Oh,
1 second.
no, these are just
Just,
teaser
ang ganda.
for
Teasers.
teaser
Okay.
proposal.
Okay, so there's a whole library there. Okay, there. You got
Yeah,
it.
some of the young market
Alright.
masters winners.
You can just check out the playlist or the videos there. Okay, so also, before we forget, we also have here
upcoming,
upcoming events. Okay. Ito,
I think what's
here
good
we
also,
go.
Josiah, is working with the young people, no? The young
Wow,
people, they
okay.
give you new ideas also.
Yeah,
So
kasi
I always feel
yeah,
young.
yes,
Yeah,
it's not
This
that's
is
correct.
millennials
the
anymore.
Market
It's
Masters
yeah.
Conference,
Ito,
and we have
Man's Myth Market
invited
Master.
17 CEOs.
Yes,
It's
sir.
on
Grabe.
November
Grabe
16
to.
to 20.
Oh, sir.
Kasama na ako dyan,
Unilad.
enrolled. I'm enrolled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at the lineup. Wow, the biggies. From Unilab, Kantar, Union Bank, CDO, 7-Eleven,
This is for the
Unilever. Wow.
serious entrepreneurs, If you really want to have a
Okay.
good business, it's nice to get ideas from people so that there's no need to commit a mistake. Kasi pag, somebody have already taught you that, right? And then from there, actually, they are sharing with you their experience, their knowledge. So you should be happy that they're doing so. Because otherwise, some people, they just might have their own business, but they don't want to share. But what's good with Mansmith and the group of Josiah is, kaya nga they're so blessed. So, because they continue with an
They're paying it
advocacy.
forward, eh. They're paying it forward.
Yes,
Not just
oo,
giving back,
right.
paying it forward. Yeah. So the website is marketmastersconference.com. Okay? And do you have a page, sir, Facebook page for this so they can easily
Mansmith, they can just visit Mansmith and Builders Facebook.
Ayun. All right. So it's because nowadays, Facebook is the most accessible. Okay.
Tsaka si
And we got
Google.
one more. Yeah, but most people would rather say Facebook because it's data friendly. Okay, we have another one. Sensei. Wow, yeah. Of course,
It is.
in the true sense of the words, marketing
Sensei.
sensei.
Yeah, this is a subsidiary. Sensei is a subsidiary of Mansmith, and our target market. And this is what I'm sharing with you, Betty and Raymond.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it's here in the
Market,
Everything in the value chain.
market
Yeah.
driving, and nobody is teaching high school and college students about innovation. There is no course called innovation. And we want to be innovative, but nobody is teaching. So we're starting to teach high school
Wow,
and
that's
college
great.
students about innovation skills.
Correct,
Of
correct.
course, if practitioners want to join, they're welcome to join.
So this is
Saturdays, starting middle.
5
Yeah.
Saturdays.
Yes, 5 Saturdays. I mean, this is open for teenagers, for the Gen Z. The
Yes.
Gen Z. So you're
Or-
touching base with the Gen Z. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So the parents who would like their children to have a head start advantage, this is one course that they can be ahead of everybody else.
All right. Galing, galing. This is really good.
So,
no?
maswerte yung mga listeners natin. They, you heard it from us and I hope you can join, diba, the seminars. Opportunities talaga yan.
Can we
you know.
share? Sir, can we share it on HTV Philippines, yung mga posters na yan and the link to your events?
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Because most of our viewers and the followers are the Gen Z and the millennials. So tama-tama. Because this, marketing skills is very important. It's applicable in every aspect of our lives. Napaka-importante. You can be a good creator, artist, musician, but if you don't know how to market yourself properly, then everything's gone to waste, no? Sayang.
Tsaka there are wrong concepts din eh, di ba? So, so let's hear it from Mr. Josiah because he's going to give us the new concepts on business model, di ba? On business model and actually doing business. Yun. So,
okay.
can
So
we
now, as we
can we ask
wrap
Mr.
up
Josiah
yes,
to wrap up the learnings we
You know, basically, business model is simply the way you create, deliver, and capture value. Which means that you have to, when you look at it, it's three part. Create. How do you create? You cannot create unless you understand your customer. So know your customer. And then you talk about deliver. How do you deliver? Your value chain is your way to deliver. And then how do you capture? You capture it if you are differentiated, but you are differentiated in a different way. And that's how, and you do it through reconfiguration. And you create, deliver, capture value. So anything that you do must have a value. It means, your target market are benefited. Because if your target market are not benefited, there is no value. The company will also not get any value. It's as simple as that. And so thank you very much, Betty and Raymond, for inviting me. No, medyo pitin ako, but invite me again.
Sure, basta anytime you want to
sir. It's a pleasure.
We will be more than privileged if you come often to our show. Imagine, di ba, free seminars yan for our audience.
Yeah,
So,
a regular segment would be awesome.
Gusto mo regular segment? And thank you very much, Mr. Josiah. And
Thank
so
you.
to our televiewers, we hope to see you again next week. Health Revolutionary.
Yes, we have
L05.
Yes, of
Sino
course. We
guest
have
natin sila?
chef, writer, and media man, si Dong Literal. He's from One News, from television network. But he's also a rider, a motorbike rider, vlogger, and a chef. So he'll be talking about how we, not just survive, but also reinvent some of the things, yung mga daily needs natin as we still go through this prolonged pandemic. And it's also a field reporter so he can teach us. Okay. Okay.
So that's very good.
Si
Kaya nga, hindi, na kasi, may class pa siya eh.
Oh, yes. Okay. We are a bit extended na rin kasi. Okay, so thank you so much everyone. So don't forget next week. And sa mga hindi nakapanood from the start, you can watch this from the start anytime because right after this will be published already. So if you want to learn more, review so many learnings today. If you want to review, just go ahead. And also abangan nyo yung mga takeaways and yung mga, we'll be repurposing a lot of the segments here because there's so much learning that we had in 1 hour.
But we're so happy, diba? Kasi Raymond, our advocacy is to be able to help people change. And through our health revolution, I think we are able to do that. And so I hope that others will still join us so that we will be able to become successful not only in our business but also in our health and in our whole personality. Yan. Okay, so see you again, guys. Next till our next lunch date next Wednesday at 12:05. Bye-bye, Raymond. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Mom Betty. Stay safe. And everyone, thank you and stay safe, everyone. Stay home. Bye-bye.